Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to talk about your wealth capacity and your wealth stars and how it corresponds to your ability to become wealthy. Now, it is by most masters will say that your wealth capacity and your ability to become wealthy is evident in your Bazi. Now, I can't make a comment about this because I haven't really done Bazi. I haven't analyzed enough people's charts to know this. Now, as usual, when it comes to something this complicated, the Chinese language web pages are the best place to find relevant information. And this is where I could understand it. There's stuff in English, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because they want you to instead hire them. Most of the information that I have here in this particular video comes from this website. It's a blog, of course, and there's some links on that pages that I've also used too. So this is the entry into this. Now, there are three important factors when we're talking about how likely is it that you're going to become wealthy when we look at your Bazi. First off, we look for your wealth storage capacity and your wealth stars and the strength of those pillars. So that's what is important. If you miss any of these properties, and even the masters say this, that doesn't mean you will be poor. Rather, your chart is not pointing the easy way to become wealthy. That's kind of the gist I get from reading several different places, is that, don't worry if you don't have this. It just means that you're going to have to work a little harder to find the right path to become wealthy. And you still can use this because you're still going to have periods of time when you're luckier than other periods. So this is where it starts getting a little bit ugly. So first off, you find your day master. We don't care whether you're yang or yin right now. We just want you to find your day master. So once you found it, then you look here. What is your wealth element? This will be labeled in the Joey Yap chart and so forth with either IW or DW. That W stands for wealth. So you're looking for those guys in your Bazi chart from, for example, from Joey Yap. And if you are a wood day master, it'll be the earth. That will be DW and IW. If you're a fire day master, then it'll be the metal that will have this label and so forth. And so this makes it really easy to find your wealth elements. Very little work to do that. And when depending on the mix of IW and DW, you may be more directed towards one type of a job. The DW is working for others, IW is usually working for yourself, or at least having side gigs. So the higher your DW it is that you have in your chart, it is better in general that you work for others because you probably don't want all the responsibility of running your own business. And you can do very well if you have high level of skills in whatever field you're in. You can earn a good wage and can have a very good life. If your IW is higher, in general, it's better if you're an entrepreneur or you at least have a side gig while you're still in your career so that you have something to transition to as an entrepreneur. Most people don't have enough capital to begin with to become an entrepreneur unless it is like I'm doing through the internet, where I started basically um, with very little stuff, and I just got on YouTube. I didn't even know if I would ever earn any money, but I already had the software, so I just decided to use it and help educate people. Now, this all happened when there was still a lot of problems with COVID when I decided to do this because I didn't know how long it was going to go on. Now, this here is the storage. This is where your storage location is. That is, if you have wood as a day master, your storage will be in the dog. So you want to have a dog in your natal chart if you can. That's really good because that's where it will be stored. If you don't, then you have to look in your luck pillars. And that will mean that only in that one luck pillar will you have a real ability to earn money, or to not earn money, but gain wealth. So again, if you have it in your natal chart, that's fantastic. If you don't, then you look in your luck pillar. And I do think it's possible that perhaps a year pillar has some effect. I haven't had this confirmed, but I think it has some effect. Now, when we look at this one, this is going to tell you how large your capacity is, how large your storage capacity is. Now, if you don't have the dog in your natal chart, but it's in your luck pillar, then that will be the storage for that luck pillar. But if it's in your natal chart, well then great. Then this is tells you how big it is. And so this element here is the resource for the wealth element. So that's where it comes from. So this will be your output. This is what this is. I mean, this is the way that all works. If you're a wood day master, fire is your output, wealth is what you control. I mean, earth is what you control, so that's your wealth element. It just this is the way it is. So you want to look at that level, and that will tell you how large. So if you have a lot of fire and you're a wood day master, that means that you have whatever storage you have, whenever that occurs, if it's not in your natal chart, it will be big if your fire is big. If your fire is small, that will mean it will be small. That's all. Now, there is a poem that if you look on that web page, or actually even some English language web pages, it will state that the best years for wealth accumulation is during your clash years, or I should say, is the clash years of your storage, not your clash years, but the clash years of your storage. So if you are a wood day master, your best years for earning will be in the dog. Even if you don't have the dog in your chart, it's still the best years because there will be a dog month. So now you may not have a dragon either. And that's also okay because there'll be dragon years. And so if it's a dragon year on the dog month, you probably have a much better chance of increasing your wealth. And usually that comes through something lucky. So uh, that's that's my understanding of all the reading that I've done. So it may seem a little weird, but that's the way it works. So again, let's take metal. If you're a metal day master, your wealth element is wood, because that's the one you control. Your storage is in the goat. So if you have a goat in your chart, you've got a real clear storage. Otherwise, you look in your luck pillar. And then you look to see how much water you have, because water produces wood. And if that level is high, then you have the storage if you have the goat, and you have a place. So you have good ability to earn money, and you have a place to store it. And that means you feel like saving the money or investing it, and keeping it for the long term. And your best year will be the ox. So you just read it that way. Now, it is possible that people without storage animals in their natal chart may be able to accumulate at least some wealth during storage years um, that have a clash month, or vice versa. It's possible, again, it's not confirmed that this actually works, but there's no really legitimate reason why it wouldn't work. But we are only talking about a month, so that tends to be a little hard to peg down. So. Um, but that's just the way it is. You have to, but if you can recognize this, you can see how well it works. At least that's what I would be doing. So your wealth star is, of course, an element. It's going to be the IW and DW in the 10 gods. And again, if you have this in your natal Batsa, that's good. So this is but this is going to come from your branches. So, because the animal signs have elements associated with it. So again, we're looking at the Daymaster, and this is the well star. This is what comes from the last slide. And so this is Earth, and these are the Earth animals. So if you have any one of these, this adds to your um, your wealth. I mean, it improves it. So the metal for the fire, your well star is metal. So these are the two metal animal signs. For an earth daymaster, water is your element, and this comes through the two water signs. And if you're a metal daymaster, wood is your well star, and that'll be the two wood animals. And again, water, fire is your wealth element. So the snake and the horse are the ones that will give you some extra wealth star. Now, you will also have this in these stars will also be in your chart as stems, heaven stems and hidden stems. And of course, this can also still come from a luck pillar if you don't have any one of these in your natal chart. So there are basically four ways this can go. You could have wealth stars and either low or no storage. And most people, when this happens, money comes and goes. They earn money, but they spend it all, basically. So it just flows right through their hands. If you have a missing wealth stars, you just don't have the wealth stars, but you have a high storage capacity, that is, it's hard for you to earn money, but you save very easily. Now, this usually means you're quite frugal. If you're missing wealth stars and have low or no storage, it's easy to be poor, but you can still get lucky. So it just is, you just don't have, if you don't have the wealth stars, you don't have basically the drive to earn a lot of money. That's what a missing wealth star does. It's not that you don't have the skills, it's just that don't, you're not concentrated or focused on earning money. So they'll pay you whatever little you'll take. So that is, I think that's where this comes from. Now, if you have wealth stars and high storage, it's very easy for you to become quite wealthy. So, but of course, you still have to play the game right, because all the wealthy people out there, um, and there are charts that are weak, there are charts that are strong. I think there are charts that are balanced. They all, uh, they, not all of them have what you might first consider to be really positive things. But also, for every one of those who is wealthy, like let's say Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, uh, these people have tens of thousands, 20 to 30,000 other people born in with their exact same batza, but they aren't that rich. The other people aren't that rich. And this has a lot to do with just the life circumstances you were born into. It's not fair, but that's just the way it is. So if you look at me, because I've been doing this so that you can have a consistent thing to look at, I'm a wood day master. My wealth element is earth, and I have a decent amount of earth. In fact, that is my percentage wise as all of the elements goes. It is the highest one. But the wealth storage is dog, and I do not have a dog in my chart. And I don't have a dog in my luck pillar until I'm 82. So that's still not quite 20 years off. And I would want to look at my level of fire to see how deep my storage is or how big my storage is. And this seems to depend on who you look at. Joey Yap says this is just below average, um, which is, at least here in the United States, not very good, because most people don't have a lot of net wealth. And if you look at the others, my lowest is metal by quite a bit, and fire is, kind of in the middle. So maybe it's average. A little hard to say. I don't understand how what what the numbers mean in the other charts, because that seems to be um, not covered very well. And I've been looking to see if I could understand what those numbers mean, and I just haven't found something yet. But somehow Joey Yap turns that into a percentage, and I have no idea how he does it. But that is probably the easiest place to look, is the Joey Yap chart. And the best years for earning money would be dragon years. And I hope that's true for this year because it's a dragon year, but we'll see. At the rate it's going, no, this is not going to be my best year. Although for the business, it's so far probably going to be my best year. A little hard to say though. We have to see. It's only half over. And so when it comes to the animal signs, I do have an ox. I don't have any of the other three, but my ox is in DE and the strength is in grave. So this is pretty much not contributing to my earth. And but that's okay because I have a lot of other earth in my chart. So I don't necessarily need this. But these are the storage animals, but I don't have my storage animal. I don't have the dog. So uh, I should fall into this first category, but this is definitely not me. Um, I don't borrow money. I don't have money to spend, um, except for to buy the house. That is basically the one thing that we borrowed money for, was for buying a house. And we paid it off in 6.5 years by being extremely frugal. But that was one of the best moves we ever made because we had a high interest rate because interest rates were high back then. So it was over 7%, over 7.5%. It was really, really quite high. But we didn't pay that much interest because we paid it off early. Now, this is what I would say we fall into, high storage, missing well stars. But that's not us. We're kind of like the opposite. We have the stars, or at least I have the stars, but I don't have the storage. I don't find it that easy to earn money, but I can save it pretty easily. I'm really quite frugal, and so is my husband. So we have saved a lot more than most people with our income, largely because we don't have kids. So that really makes it a lot easier to save money. So the strength and location of your wealth stars is also important. And that's why I talked about your 12 growth cycle levels. So your wealth stars will be labeled in most analysis by DW and IW. So it's really easy to find in your chart. And you can go to the table that I had for the 12 growth stars in the video before this, and um, that will tell you what what um, what cycle you're in or what stage you're in your particular pillar. Now, the best location for the wealth stars is either in your month or your hour. Month is working for somebody else, hour is working more for yourself. If it's in your year, it basically indicates that you probably will only become wealthy through inheritance. And if it's in the day, you may marry wealthy. That's what is said. Now, the best location to find your wealth stars, that is the IW and DW, is in the heaven stems. The second best place is either in the animal sign or in its hidden stems. They seem to be pretty equal. They don't seem to differentiate between the main and the sub cheese. As long as it's there, it's good. Now, if your wealth star, if you have more than one wealth star or stars in the month and you have some DW, then working for others is best for you because you probably don't want to deal with all the hassle of running your own business. because that's usually quite a bit of work. And unless you can become so big that you have everybody else taking care of all the details and you just make decisions, then running your own business is actually quite hard. If your wealth stars are in the hour and you have a decent amount of IW, then owning your own business or a side gig is better for you. And even if you're working in a career, so that let's say if you're in the United States, you're getting health insurance, uh, and if you are, or if you just don't, you're not earning enough money in your side gig, so you have to have another source of income, that's fine. At some point, your side gig will probably grow big enough that you can quit your job. That's usually what will happen if you have the wealth stars in the hour and you have a decent amount of IW somewhere. And if your wealth stars are in the year, again, you are likely to inherit most of your wealth. That is, whatever you're going to have for wealth will come through inheritance. Now, if your parents are poor, then you're not going to have much wealth, is what this predicts. But of course, the harder you work, it is possible that you can indeed earn more money. Um, but you have to have the skills, and that's the key. I would say that if you don't have wealth stars, perhaps learning new skills is not the most important thing for you. And that's why you're not making much headway. Now, if your wealth stars are in the day, it says you may marry rich. Um, and I again, I haven't had enough experience to know if this is true. So again, show you my chart. You must be bored of it by now. So I've got, it's kind of complicated, but I've marked uh, this is, of course, my day pillar. And so I'm a wood day master. The earth is my wealth element, and I have 4 different ones here. However, the month is in the grave as its growth stage, and it also has DE. So this month can basically be crossed out. It has so little energy left after both the DE and the grave that it's probably pointless. It doesn't have anything. And also, I have 0DW in my chart. So I'm really not made to work for others. I don't like the restrictions, that kind of thing. However, I have an hour and a year with my wealth element. Now, this happens to be IW for me because this is the same, it's the wealth element with the same polarity. And so that's always IW. And if I look at the fire, well, even though I have fire here, I do think this pillar is basically invalid. It's so weak, it probably has no effect. But I do have it in the hour. So my best bet, of course, is to be an entrepreneur. Um, yeah, it might have been nice to know this a long time ago, but I got there anyway. So I don't know. But again, I don't have the dog. So I don't have much storage. And the fire is really not super strong either. It's if you look at the spiderweb chart in Joey app, it's just below average. So, you know, it's not really good. So, but it's not, also not really bad either. So it's almost average. And I can't really say that I've earned a whole lot more money in a dragon year, but then again, I'm not sure I've kept real track of this. I should say not so much earn money, but gain wealth. I can't really comment on that because I haven't kept enough track of it. So again, best animal signs to have, ox is one of them, but it's in DE and in grave, or I mean, sorry, in the grave of the growth stage. So it's pretty irrelevant. So this really doesn't have much effect. So, although there is wealth through inheritance, and I've gotten some money through inheritance because both of my parents have passed, but they lived longer than average for, when they were born, so it's all good. And and I'm not going to get it through marriage or through the career. Definitely not through the career and not through the marriage. There's no wealth elements here. And but I can own my own business. And so this is where I'm going to get any wealth. This is where it's going to come from. So that's it. Now I'm not done yet. There is some special charts and some special considerations that I'm still learning about. That's going to take probably another week or so for me to be able to talk about that. It'll depend on whether or not I can find what I'm looking for in the Chinese websites and translate it well enough that I can understand what they're talking about. So that's it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching.